So here we have the tank after rubbing it down a bit. You can see there's still some orange peel, and the more orange peel you get off and the more even toned that you get the tank looking, if it looks all grayish, that's even better, because then you don't see the dips and you don't see so much orange peel. And that orange peel can be reduced by better sanding between your coats of paint, right? Now we're gonna buff it out. We're gonna make the tank shine, and to do that you can use a rubbing compound and do it by hand. Something like this 3M rubbing compound works really nicely. Just expect to put in a lot of elbow grease and to sweat a bit, but you'll get some really nice results. Or you can use a buffer just like this. This is from Harbor Freight. It'll cost you maybe around $30, but on sale it's probably half of that, 15 bucks. And that buffer will save you a lot of time and save you a lot of energy and make things a lot easier. And you can see here on the tank, I've already started doing some of that buffing, and you can see how nice and shiny the tank is. It's almost a mirror looking finish, versus back up here where you can see that I did some sanding and there's still quite a bit of orange peel. I should have sanded it down a little better. Okay, but if you're lazy, there we go. You'll get a nice shiny finish, but if you look really close you can still see some orange peel. Not quite show quality, but really nice still, especially for a RustOleum paint job. Okay, and again, you can improve that, make it show quality by just rubbing it down better and getting off all the orange peel without burning through your coats of paint. So you don't want to burn through the coats of paint while you're sanding it, so you got to be really careful. Use like 1500 grit sandpaper with water and make it all even toned, and instead of seeing all this orange peel you'll see a grayish color, and everything will look gray with this black paint. And if you're using a different color it'll just look really dull. Okay, so now we're going to get into buffing it. Now buffing's pretty tricky. There's a few things that'll help you out so that you don't burn your paint and mess it up, and you'll be painting even more. One of the things you want to do is know the direction of rotation. For instance, there's an arrow going around here on this buffer saying that the pad goes in a clockwise direction. So you always want to buff off of any corners. So I'd be buffing like this versus buffing like that. Okay? If I'm buffing like this, I'll probably be doing it this way, off here. Like that. You also want to be buffing at an angle and never flat. This isn't good. You want to be buffing at an angle. Right? And those are two of the tricks that you'll use so that you don't burn through the paint. So be really careful when you're buffing. So let's get to this. Get a rag. Got some turtle wax rubbing compound. Put some of this on to a small spot here. So if we take a look at what I just buffed right over here in this corner, we can see how nice and shiny it's gotten. It's becoming really mirror smooth, or mirror looking. And that's just a small section of what we just did. Again, you want to buff off of any corners. So I was buffing off this way, right? Instead of hitting the corner directly. And if you do that, you have a higher chance of burning through your paint and losing control of the buffer also. That thing turns at a really fast speed and it'll throw this tank really easy. That's why I got a little bag behind it to hold it in place. So here, we still got to do a lot more buffing on all this stuff, and it's a process that takes a bit of time, but well worthwhile, as we can see again by the finish here on the side. So we'll keep on buffing. And when you're buffing, you want to be careful, because the rotation of that buffer will heat up your part, heat up that paint, and it'll make it really easy to burn it. So you can see that the tank is starting to really shine, and we just keep on buffing away and being careful again not to burn the paint, because it's really easy to do. And eventually, if we don't burn the paint and we don't mess it up, we'll get a really nice shiny tank here. Okay, so I've polished the tank up, and I've used some of this polish, this new finish. It's a really good stuff, and a little bit goes a long way. It's one of those really cheap things you can find at Walmart, but really makes for a good polish. So I've polished the tank, and I've used this polish on it, and here's what we have. You can see it's really, really shiny. So very nice. You can see my reflection in there. Okay. And here's the tank. This is what we get after polishing it, buffing it, and then polishing it. And you can see it's a really, really shiny tank. Much shinier than the rest of my bike. So I'm sure a little weathering and maybe some scuffs would make it look like it belongs. But it's a great job. It's a really great job. The RustOleum technique. 3 days of painting at the minimum, and then or 2 days of painting. Sorry, 2-3 days of painting, and then 1 day of buffing. Expect it to take a while, not just 3 or 4 days. There's a lot of times where I wasn't able to get back to working on the tank, so this project actually took me about 1 week. Right, but you can see it's a really beautiful tank. Look how shiny that is. It's awesome. And if you're not seeing the shine and seeing how nice this tank looks, add to the URL of the YouTube video that you're watching right now, add the and sign and then FMT. So and FMT equals 18. So and FMT equals 18, and you should be able to see how really nice and pretty this tank looks. Right? Again, it takes a bit of work to get it to shine. Be careful with the buffer. Be really careful with the buffer. It's very easy to burn through the paint. So if you have any concerns or any reservations, stop using the buffer for a little bit. Maybe check it out. Do it with your hand for a little while, right? And you can feel if the paint's getting hot also. You don't want the paint to get too hot. And then try another section. Okay, so there we go, the RustOleum technique and our beautiful tank. It doesn't even look black to me. It looks almost like a deep purple in this video camera, but by my eye it's a really nice and shiny black. Again, there is a bit of orange peel, and maybe we can get a little of that. It's really hard to pick up, but that can be easily remedied if you do more sanding. Okay, but pretty good, pretty good. There you go, RustOleum technique. Hope you enjoyed it and have a good time painting.